Well, folks, once again, welcome to the McShin Foundation. I'm John Shinholser, president and founder, co-founder of the McShin Foundation. Also a person in recovery from substance use disorder. For me, that means I've been clean and sober a little over 38 years. So I know a thing or two about staying off of drugs and not drinking and going to jail and stuff like that. But today is the first day of Recovery Month. Every September all across America, we celebrate Recovery Month. And we're going to kick it off today with this podcast here at the McShin studio with our world famous director, Todd, over there. But today's an exciting day. I got a father-daughter team with me here today. They have a lot of experience, strength, and hope at recovery from substance use disorders. And before I dig too deep into the topic and the discussion, I just wanted to introduce themselves. But I'm an old male chauvinist from way back when, so we'll go ladies first.
Absolutely.
So Dixie,
Absolutely.
just tell us a short version story of yourself and how you came about being here.
All right. Well, I'm Dixie, and I'm a recovering addict. What that means to me is that I have not found it necessary to use any drugs, alcohol for 19 months today. Yeah.
Hot damn, man, that's real time right there.
So I came through the McShin Foundation. I got here February 1st of 2019, and that remains my clean date still. I lived in housing for about a year, 11 months or 12 months, and then I moved out in the very end of December of 2019.
So you moved out right before COVID hit.
Right.
Right. Got out just in time.
Right.
Got out under the wire. So we're going to drop back because I want to ask some questions about that. So Pop, otherwise James.
Yes, sir.
Quick version of James. James in a nutshell. James's life here. Right up to the podcast.
Right up to the podcast. Basically, joined the Army young, like a lot of folk do. Did about 15 years in there. Ended up getting hurt in 2004. And back then, just, doctors didn't know what to do but throw pills at it. So for a long time, almost a decade, was hooked on pain pills and all that stuff. Made some bad decisions during that time. Got in a little trouble. But eventually got off of them and trying to be the best father I can to be to Dixie.
Oh, ain't that sweet? You're a damn good dad. I'll tell you that. I run across a lot of fathers and a lot of addicts, and trust me, you're a good dad to Dixie.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
Now I'm sure
try.
I'm sure you did a few things you'd like to do over, but
oh yeah,
recovery allows us the process of making amends and moving forward and healing families.
That's it. Past is the past. Move forward.
Yeah. So, but when you said you was in the Army, did you go to war or anything?
Yeah, I went over to Iraq twice.
Twice in Iraq. So, and I guess 2004. How old are you, Dixie?
26.
26. So you were a young girl when Dad was off at war.
Mm-hmm.
Did you remember much about that, or?
No. I just remember him coming home for one of Savannah's birthdays as a surprise at wasn't a roller skating rink? No, the Applebee's afterwards. And then I remember when he got hurt.
How old were you?
Like 10, maybe? 11.
So, but
I
you
just turned 11, I think.
You were about to turn 11.
Yeah.
So you're back here in the States living the American dream. James is over there under all that stress and pressure 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And so you weren't really tuned in with, the horrors of war and what Dad was going through.
I remember when I was younger, my mom and my great grandma would not let me watch the news because, like, after 9/11 hit and everything, they would show all the soldiers.
Every day there'd be everything on the news.
So I wasn't allowed to watch the news just in case his name would come up or something.
Well, that was actually probably smart on your mama's part, I would say. So, James, when you're off over there defending our nation, putting your life on the line every day, I mean, your thoughts back home to your children? Your wife?
Absolutely. You miss them when you're over there. You want to get over there, do what you got to do, get back home.
So, I mean, I was in the Marine Corps, and one reason I got out because I didn't want to raise children in the military. I was thinking I don't know if I'd want to be separated like that.
Yeah, I was in the reserves. It's still hard in the reserves at time, but
Well, they call up the reserves left and right.
Yeah, but you got your majority of the year until you get called up that you're home with your families. But you're right, absolutely, it gets hard leaving them back. When you're over there, you're just like, man, I just miss my kids and miss the life back there. But we signed that dotted line just like anybody else. So we got to do what we got to do.
Right. When you came home, was PTSD part of your story? Or? Dixie's over there shaking her head. Hell yeah.
The first time was with the reserves, and I went back over contracting, and that's when I got hurt and came back and was messed up pretty good for a while. I got hit with a piece of shrapnel on the back of my head, so they had to cover that up with a plate. And,
right.
And then, like I said, they just threw a bunch of pain pills, antidepressant pills. So to be honest with you, for the first decade, I was just all jacked up. Just pills at first, and then the pills didn't work. So just like so many people in this world, they go to the doctor, they think it's all right, and that ain't right. We kind of justify it by saying, oh, the doctor prescribed this stuff. So you know what? It's not that big of a deal. But when you burn through them and then you start chasing them with booze day in and day out, I don't care who you are, it's going to get the best of you.
Right, absolutely.
I remember, I think the PTSD played a major role with you, like when you first came home, because of the traumatic experience that happened when the explosion happened. Like I remember you not sleeping in your bed and sleeping on the couch all the time, and like sleeping during the day and staying up all night, and you would have really bad dreams and stuff. So I feel like PTSD played a major part in your use.
Absolutely. You drown it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Have you two ever had these conversations before like this?
Not really. I feel like, so when he came home and like, especially when he got the house in Chester from Jersey, because he was staying in Jersey, and that's when he got in trouble. So he got this house. Oh yeah. So we got this house in Chester, and I remember like after a couple years of him coming home, I remember I'd be like scared to watch any kind of like worse like movies with you or anything, because it was very an uncomfortable situation.
It was for a little while. You're right. Absolutely. And
So PTSD shows its head in many different ways.
Yeah.
And little kids, they look to mom and dad for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if they look in there, if it ain't there, then obviously they're going to look for something somewhere. And this is just a real short version. But Dixie, can you remember growing up, when you start pulling away from Law and Order, mom and dad, and, start experimenting with drugs and drinking? And why are you texting, looking at your phone during this thing, man? Put it down. We have rules against that.
I didn't mean to. It's just violent.
Your dad even cut his phone off out of respect for the podcast. And you're over there. Oh, hell yeah. We're going to have a healing moment here today.
I put it in my purse. So my mom, he lived up here, and I lived an hour and a half away in Mecklenburg with my mama. And my mom wasn't, it's really hard to say. Like, she wasn't strict, but she was strict. So like we had free range to pretty much do what we want, but then we got grounded and wasn't allowed to do shit. So, but like where I grew up, there's nothing to do at all. There's a movie theater that shows 2 movies. There's a Walmart parking lot, and that's it. Like there was nothing. So like all we ever used to do was go uptown. And
how old are you at this age?
14.
So isn't that like puberty?
Yeah.
So here we go again. See, I think puberty has a big role to play in addiction, because when children hit puberty, that's a game changer. Yeah. Up until puberty, they were plenty busy, had plenty to do. Mm-hmm. But when puberty hit, it's like we got nothing to do but Walmart.
That's really yeah.
Yeah, you want to be seen. You're puberizing. You know what I mean? You got to get out there and
want to be the cool kid.
Yeah, life coming at you quick. Mm-hmm. And so you're out there. Do you start drinking or smoking weed or anything?
Yeah.
Or how's it look?
So I had cousins that were older than me, like 17, 18, and my mom would let me go uptown with them, and they were drinking. So that's what I just wanted. I was doing what everybody else was doing.
So it looked cool, right?
Right. So I would hang out in like the Walmart parking lot.
So you're 14 hanging out with 17-year-olds, and they drinking, so you drink. So we are who we hang out with.
Right. Exactly. So then I was probably about the same age when I started smoking weed. But like at that age, I drank a lot. Like,
were you smoking cigarettes back then?
Yeah.
So nicotine came first, tobacco come first, then alcohol, then pot.
Right.
That's usually the batting order. A lot of people want to say pot's a gateway drug.
Mm-hmm.
Tobacco's, well, if you want to go before tobacco, it's sugar.
Right.
Sugar is the number one gateway substance, I think, out there. Because little kid, you give them a juice box, you give them a Twinkie, you give them an Oreo, you give them a treat. So you sugar. So you connect reward with the substance. So then comes, nicotine, alcohol, weed, and everything
Yeah,
else.
it's not so much the taste of the treat. You're right. That's absolutely correct. The sugar, it's like they do something good. All right, I'll give you a treat. You go out there and do your chores, and then we didn't know back then.
No, well,
We
my parents did the same thing.
everybody does.
Yeah.
You don't think it's that big of a deal, but like you said, the sugar, like, hey, I feel better. I got more energy and stuff like that. And I'm sure it is.
Well, you don't
definitely
get
something
sugar
to-
all the time either. So
But good parents don't.
that was our story. We got it twice a month, treat. So it was a different era back in the 60s. Well, anyway, now, Dad, did you notice when Dixie was messing up? Were you aware of when she was
No.
14, 15? So you were still dealing with your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Demons.
she said, I lived an hour and a half away, and I ain't going to lie. I was a piss poor dad at that time.
And also, like, when it came to our dad, now this is the guy, my mom used to let us wear makeup, and we would make sure we scrubbed all of our makeup off before we went to our dad's house. Like,
Damn right, man. What are you doing dressing these girls up?
Right. And he would always tell when we wore makeup, even if after we took it off. So, like, when it came to our dad, we kind of painted this picture of perfection in a sense. And when it came to my mom, I was just like, I don't give a shit.
Well, mom was like, when in split families, I guess you could call it that. Mom is whatever primary parent the child is with that's the parent that's the disciplinary, but also the liberator.
Right.
So it is two hats. So how much time were you seeing your dad during this period?
Well, I didn't see him that much growing up because he was overseas, and then but then when he came home, I don't remember really when all that happened. I just remember like my mom telling us when he got hurt. And then I remember visiting one time in the hospital. But then afterwards, like he got in trouble and went to jail up in either Jersey or Pennsylvania and was up there for almost a year. And that was right after he bought the house in Chesterfield. So he didn't move to Chesterfield until about a year after he bought the house.
Yeah.
So I didn't see him that much because he was up in Jersey because that's where he's from with his parents. So I didn't see him that much up there until he came down here. And when he came down here, he was all screwed up on pills and stuff. So we would come see him, but it was kind of like, it was awkward. Because it's like, you have this picture of your parents as a kid growing up. And like my dad was like in the army, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, to see him like how he was. And me and my sister were doing, by the time we were 15, we were doing the same shit he was doing. You know what I'm saying? But it's just different when it's your parents. So it was a really uncomfortable situation.
So how old were you when they got divorced or separated?
No, real young.
Yeah, I was like
96, 7.
I was like 2 or 3.
All right. So you mentioned your sister, Savannah.
Right.
Now, is she was older or younger?
She's younger. We were like 16 months apart, I think.
So y'all almost like twins, actually.
Right.
So whatever one
We
did,
didn't
the
act
other
like it,
did. Now, when you and Savannah were growing up, you're 16, 17, 18, y'all were running together, running dogs?
No, me and my sister were very opposite. We were not alike whatsoever. She was more like awkward and antisocial, but she had friends. But me, I was like the social butterfly. I went out all the time and I talked to everybody. And
James, is that how you say it?
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So growing up, we were.
Dixie like to talk.
She is a talker, man. I mean, I give her that much.
So growing up, we had separate group of friends, and like we were only one grade behind each other. But at one point we went to different schools because I got in trouble and got kicked out of one high school, and we just had a very separate group of friends our whole entire lives.
So I'm looking up here. This is the first time
Hey,
I
Brad.
heard anyone say sugar out loud.
Hey,
man.
Teresa.
Oh, they're your buddies up there looking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even know we had that up there.
Yeah.
I was looking at Dixie, listening to her talk like she does.
Did we miss anything, Todd? Yeah, sugar is the oldest
Sandra?
abuse substance out there. There's a book called Sugar Blues. I recommend everybody read that book.
Mhm.
You'll be amazed, man. All right, so here we are. We're moving right along. The relationship sounds like it's more about a paper relationship with very little interaction. But did you like to see your dad when you went to see him?
Yeah, I did. At first, like, it was weird because he would be all screwed up on his pills and stuff. But then me and Savannah were doing the same thing. So we were like, all right, I like
Did you ever steal your daddy's pills or look for them or hunt them down?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird
Jimmy,
because
did you know they were stealing your pills?
Not then, but I'm not
Afterwards.
stupid. Looking back at it now, yeah. it had
So
to
you,
be.
you weren't smart enough to hide them and put them out of reach or anything?
No,
And it's weird because he used to get fentanyl patches. And I remember, like, I was just doing Percocets at the time. And I didn't know what the hell a fentanyl patch was. And he would have, because he would take them off in the shower or something.
Right.
And when I would go over there, I would shower in his shower because I like his shower better.
They got the fentanyl
And
patches.
I didn't know. And he would be like, don't touch this. And I'm like, okay. And I never did. And then, like, after I started, like, using heroin and stuff, I was like, wait, like, that whole time.
Like your dad was holding out on you?
I was like, it was right there.
In front of you. Wow, man. So, but Jimmy, you're pretty clean, right? You're off of.
well, yeah. I mean, I'll drink every now and then, and if I get I jacked my finger up the other day, I'll give me pain pills. I can take them, and
But
Doesn't
you,
affect
but you
me
know
anymore.
about the beast of addiction.
Oh, yeah.
Don't never go there again.
no, I used to tell Savannah all the time, and we got different views on how things are supposed to be. You guys think
You
that
see that finger, man? That sucker looks bad, man. You cut
Yeah.
the tip off.
yeah, it got smashed in a well house lid, but
Ooh.
it's all good. I used
No,
to.
it ain't all good. It look bad to me, man.
It'll heal up. It'll heal up. I got people taking care of me.
Right.
But I used to preach to Savannah, like, you never really, I never really understood until, Dixie came here and started getting more educated. I was like, you go to these meetings, these classes, and if you revolve your life around them, you're never really in control of it again. It would, if you can go to the bar one night when obviously old enough and have a few and not desire to go back to that, then you're back in control of your life. But like I said, after Dixie come here, I started looking at things different. There are some people that can't touch it again. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're one of them people that says, look, I don't want to ever drink again. I don't want to ever do pain pills again because I know that'll suck me back in. I used to think, oh, you're weak. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you're not back in control of your life. But I do realize now that some people can't do that. I'm one that, I ain't gonna lie, it hurt for a little bit, man. The doctor said, you want something for it? I was like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah, hook it up, man. I don't want to feel the pain.
You don't
I'm
have,
tired
you
of
know,
pain.
you don't have a problem when you don't deliberately start smashing your fingers.
Yeah,
for pills,
exactly.
man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm one of those that one's too many, 1,000 never enough. I know what I am, man.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was closed-minded for the longest time. Like, man, you revolve your life around meetings, but hey, it's all about living a good life.
Right.
If that means you can't touch another drink, you can't touch another pill or nothing, so be it, man. It's about getting to the end goal and being happy.
At which point in time did the two of you, like right now, I've been around y'all before. You got this beautiful relationship. You got
Thank
great
you.
mojo. You're clearly on the rise with developing the quality relationship that a father always wants to have with the child and the child wants to have with the parent. So I see this before my eyes. I watched this happen over the last 18 months. So, but at any point in time, did y'all start, either one of you start craving a better relationship with either your parent or your child? I mean, were y'all in touch with the lack of a quality relationship?
My whole time, man, I wanted one because I didn't have one when I was growing up. I didn't have a real good relationship with my father. And I've always wanted to connect to both of them. And, they were young. And I was, gone here and there sometimes. And when I got screwed up, I didn't.
So you never ever really got far away from the notion of being a good dad?
No, that was always, I tried my best.
Right.
It obviously wasn't good enough at times. I'm looking back at it now and I regret it. There's no doubt about that, but it doesn't mean the future can't be.
Man, the future ain't never got to be the past. Trust me.
That's right.
Man.
Yep.
And you two are both positioned to have a great future.
We will.
Together. I'm sure you are. I can see it. Dixie, did you ever think back, did you want to have a better relationship with your dad? Did you have the one you wanted or?
So, like, of course, I've been using since I was like 16, and he found out I was using when I was like 18, basically when I moved from Mecklenburg to his house. So, like, over the course from like 19 to 24, no, I didn't think, because
you was
I was in active addiction.
Yeah.
And so, like, who cares about having a relationship with anybody other than drugs, right? So it wasn't until I got a little bit of clean time, probably a couple months, where I was like, okay, like, I think it would be like, it's healthy to have a better relationship with my parents. So, and my kids. So I started like trying to do the right thing and build that relationship and communicate more and not always
You
asking
had
for
a
money.
child in active addiction.
Yeah.
And you weren't the best mother.
Right.
So you become the parent that you probably had, you know.
Hmm.
But did you ever think growing up, I'm gonna be a better parent than my parents if I ever have kids?
Oh hell yeah! Every time I
Who
would get
doesn't?
mad at them.
And then you turned into that very parent.
Exactly.
I mean, I hear that all the time, man. We become our parents for sure.
Hmm.
Until your child starts growing up and you have a better relationship, we won't know what Jimmy really went through all these years. Jimmy, is that cool? James, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's cool, man.
Yeah. The because once you're a parent, you have the love of a parent for your child.
Hmm.
It's hard to know it until you get there. So you'll know more about what your daddy probably went through.
It'll come in time, just like with us.
Yes, it does. So now the Savannah, your sister, you know, like you saw Dixie get clean, right?
Mhm.
And you got real hopeful. I remember when we first
Yeah.
talked, and it was 2 months before Dixie decided she wanted to have a good relationship with Dad.
Yeah.
Because I remember we talked, you were like this desperate father that came across like, this is my child. I'll do anything I can to help her. You tell me what to do. What's it look like? What do you need? Let's do it. With no hesitation, no balk, and no nothing. You know, you understood the severity, the importance, and the immediate needs. And you had just overdosed, right, Dixie?
A lot in that week, yeah.
So things weren't looking good.
Hmm.
So Dad found us, thanks to old
Bennett.
Captain Bennett,
Captain
man.
Bennett, yep.
He hooked us up, and Dixie shows up all fresh off of an overdose. But
God help it.
I mean, I thought, here's a young lady. If she don't pay attention, she ain't gonna make it. That's my first impression of you. Better pay attention because this is serious.
Mhm.
But you did, and you recovered. You're doing great. You know, your best case outcome.
Mhm.
But you were clean, I guess, a year or so when your sister came here, right?
Yeah. When Savannah came here last spring, so I had probably like 5 or 6 months clean, and she didn't stay. She stayed for like a week or so. Yeah, about a week, maybe 2, and then she left. And then I brought her back here in March, the end of March, middle of March, end of March of this year. And when I brought her back this time, I had like 11 months clean, 13 months clean.
Did you, like Jimmy, when she came back, when Savannah come here, were you hopeful she'd do well? Obviously.
Absolutely. I was hopeful. I'm like, you know, we were just like her, don't know what to do no more.
Right.
And, you know, you look at Dixie like, all right, this is the same opportunity Dixie had, but, you know, we got to do something, kiddo. It ain't gonna be much longer. And, you know,
for the folks listening, Savannah came, she left, and she died within a week, I think, of leaving, overdosing and dying. It was very tragic, very sad, very heartbreaking. And, you know, I don't ever want to know what a parent goes through or a sibling goes through. You know, I could, but I don't ever want to know. But I've seen it so much. That's why I'm so committed to what I do. You know, back to you, James, for a minute, though, because I see this a lot in parents. If one sibling does well, they almost expect the other one to do well.
Yeah, of course, you know.
And it's the disease, the way the disease works. There's just a percent ain't gonna do it. They're not gonna make it, and you never know which is which is up, which is down. But I watched y'all go through this process, the recovery piece, the intervention piece, the tragic loss of a child, and she, I think, I would say, partly Savannah. Would you think there was any COVID related issues with the climate at the time? Or
I do.
I had many conversations with her right before she left. So she came here and she was here a couple weeks, and I think she was here 2 weeks, exactly 14 days, and then she relapsed. And she tried to come back the night that she relapsed, and she was allowed to come back. And then when she came, it was like the start of COVID, like right before they started like shutting places down and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wrote the date down. April 9th is when she passed away.
Yeah.
So
So it was
I
right.
think they were shutting down in
Well,
March or April, weren't they?
Well, it was like the beginning of April because I remember being outside at the smoke shack having a conversation with her. It was like the day before the governor. She kept saying she wanted to leave. And I was like, well, you can go, but you're going to get arrested if you walk through these streets. You ain't got no car, nothing. Like, it's about to be where you can't be out. Like, you're not allowed to be like walking around and stuff.
I remember she was on, she had she was out on bond.
Yeah.
Because I remember we called the bondman, the police, and they actually picked her up.
Yeah.
So actually, I got a phone call from Jesse, and he said she was trying to leave and that she wasn't.
We felt desperation on our
Right.
side, just so you know. We thought this girl was in imminent danger
Right.
of being stupid and dying.
Yeah.
And we went to any lengths to get the court, the PO or whoever to get arrested because she was breaking her bond.
Right. And they just, I feel like the system kind of failed her.
Well, I think it was a COVID related thing.
Oh, it was.
They didn't want to put anybody in jail because they didn't want to contaminate anybody, but they weren't thinking too serious about addicts relapsing.
Savannah literally told me if I don't get if I'm not going to stay clean unless I go to jail. That's the only way I'm going to stay clean. So when I went there, when the cops showed up before they even arrested her, like she was like upstairs in the recovery house, like I'm not going down there. So the cops were like at the bottom of the steps and I was like, let me go up there. They were like, all right. So she was freaking out and I said, listen, you got to go. They're at the bottom of the steps. Like you have to go. And the cop, she kept saying, do you think I'm gonna get a bond? And it was like probably 8 cops out there. And they were like, yeah, they're not going to keep you because of COVID. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So Henrico met Chesterfield at the Chesterfield line and Chesterfield picked her up, took her to the jail. And within 20 minutes of her being there, she was calling me to pick her up because they gave her a PR bond because of COVID.
And she'd already broken one bond. Go ahead, James.
It's all right, Miss Lisa. You did your best. And Savannah was a grown, as grown as she could be, and she made her decisions. I appreciate you trying to reach out and help.
I love you, Lisa.
Yeah, we had a team on her trying to talk. We could do everything but hold her down, tie her up,
Right.
and put her away. And that don't end well either when you do that.
I would get phone calls from Jill and be like, can you come up here? Your sister's trying to leave. And I would come up here and talk to her. But the last time when I picked her up from jail and I was like, I'm not taking you anywhere. I'm dropping you off at the recovery house. That's the only place I'm going to take you. And she had somebody pick her up and was waiting for her right when I dropped her off. So I knew that I did the best that I could with what I had.
Well, let me ask you a question. Actually, both of us, all three of us, really, we expose a lot of people to recovery. And the disease is strong, it's powerful. The brain tells you don't want recovery, run from it. This ain't going to work. All you know or want is to get high. And I often wonder, are we missing anything? Is there anything we can do different or better? What hope shot aren't we giving these young people?
We always can do better. I mean, we're learning new ways and techniques every day. But I mean, it all boils down to the individual. I mean, it's that simple. Like the only reason that I stopped doing pills the way I was doing them was because I was face down at the bottom of the steps one day and I woke up to Savannah screaming, thinking that I had OD'd and died. I was passed out cold and I woke up to her screaming and I was like, oh, enough of this shit. All right, maybe I was going for a decade. People, my friends and family are like, you got a problem? And I'm like, no, I ain't got no problem. I got this under control. And then I woke up, like I said, to Savannah screaming, thinking I was dead. And then that's when I was like, all right.
How old was Savannah at that time?
16, 17, right?
She
was in high school. She had come to live with me to get out away from down there. I mean, Savannah realized she had a problem a long time ago, and she was not happy with her life at all. So she decided to move down away from Mecklenburg County down there and then try and come up here. I mean, when you're desperate, you try anything. And, like I said, I wish I was in a different place. Maybe it would have been a different outcome. But, Savannah's the reason I'm here. She is the reason that I changed my life. And that was what
that can do it. Parent, their eyes open. Oh my God, I could do better. My kids are witnessing this.
Like I said, my grown family and friends, they were years and years, man, saying, "Hey, man, you got a problem. You got a problem." I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm good. I'm good. The doctor's prescribing it. The doctor's
You remind me, James, because since I've known you, I've always seen a man of courage, of value, of character. And I know addiction can rob us of that.
Yeah.
But you had it within you. Once you recognize that, you put that to use. You said, daggone it, this is enough. I know better than this shit. You know, I can do better. I'm going to do better. And I'm going to be an example of people coming behind me.
That's it. I mean, you know, it's
and
got
you are an example. You're a good example.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
No, you're awesome, man. I can tell, man. You know, and I watched the way you and Dixie interact. You know, it brings tears in my eyes to know the joy in front of you guys. You know, both of you. You know, Dixie, you have an incredible amount of courage too. You know, you've had some suffering and pain here too.
Yeah.
You know, not just Savannah, but you know, you've seen a lot of death since you've been here. You know, it's all around us. Recovery really ain't for the meek. You know, but living in active addiction ain't either. You know, it's like you're in the crosshairs.
Yeah, it's crazy because like when I was using, I didn't really have like friends, right? I just had people that I used with, and like I didn't see
associates.
Right, exactly. And I didn't see that much death because I wasn't like paying attention really or around anybody to like pay attention. So it was really hard for me. I feel like when I came into recovery, like you're surrounded by people who are addicts, and then some people go back out and use and then they die, and it's really sad, especially when people have like a substantial amount of clean time or anybody really. So it was like hard for me at first, but like it just gives me more, it makes me more
focused.
Yeah, and like willing and wanting to stay in position.
You know, right now there are probably 1 million families, 1 million that have lost a loved one to an overdose in the last 10 years, 12 years. That's the ones we absolutely know about and the ones that we're pretty certain about. It's kind of like testing for COVID, you know what I mean? A lot of people testing positive, but not everybody's getting tested. And a lot more people out there got it. But one thing I'm very proud of McShin and the way we bring people to the table and have these conversations. And I think we need so many of these conversations. You know, so many people won't talk about how we're going to reduce the stigma if we ain't talking about it. And I've watched families heal during these podcasts. They're, you know, talking about it.
People got to know they're not the only ones going through stuff in life, man. Not just with addiction and everyday life, man. It's a struggle. You know, people can let everyday life get them down and not move on and dwell on the past, and that can lead to addiction eventually. You know, I mean, everything's tied together. You know, you got to get your life squared away. And I know with Savannah, it's never going to get better. That was 100% her mentality. It was never going to get better. And I was like, man, you got to start thinking positive that it can get better in time. If you give it what
that first 6 months is difficult, you know, to get that mindset change. You know, it takes a few years. You know, in the Army, I know you've seen death and you've seen people, they had a mission in front of them, and you got to brush death off and stay with the mission. And as we live life as human beings all around us, you know, we got to keep living our lives. You know, death is going to happen to all of us sooner or later. You know, we are a civilization. You know, it's going to be a lot of tragedy, but a lot of joy in there. A lot of we got to keep moving in there. And I see so many families just shut down. And it seems to me, it almost gets worse on the inside. You know, I encourage people talking about it. I encourage people to share that shit. You know, that's one of my.
Like I said, people just got to realize that they're not the only one going through stuff in life, whether it be struggling with addiction, alcoholism, or anything like that, or just everyday life. There's other people going through it too.
Do you think it's helpful coming here, talking and having these conversations?
I mean, that's part of the thing I do with the Racing for Heroes too. Is, you know, I'll get out there and tell my story. In the past, I used to be, you know, I ain't gonna
talk about Racing for Heroes briefly. I mean, we talked about it before. You built a race car, and
it's not so much that it's a.
Well, Dixie thinks it's the car, man.
I just know the history behind his race car, and you're like, so you just built a race car? I'm like, for 25 years.
That's just mine.
Sounds like a Johnny Cash song. What year is it?
That's my story. But it's just, we're an organization based out of Alton, Virginia, right out of VIR. What we do is we just try and get some guys out there in the shop itself. Start small. It's like, hey, man, because you know so many people are secluded with PTSD. They don't want to get out there, and they just want to stay in their safe spot.
So is it for veterans or anybody?
It's for veterans. We focus on veterans. We would like to be able to to heal the whole world.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't turn nobody down if they show up.
No, we ain't gonna turn them down, but we got to realize we're gonna focus with the people that we can communicate with and affect the most. You know what I'm saying? We can, military people, we just click. You know that. So we get them out there. Get them in the shop, get them feeling better.
Is there a homepage or a website?
Yeah, racingforheroes.org is
racingforheroes.org.
That's the one you can go to on the web, or you can go to Facebook. It's just Racing for Heroes, and start small. Just get them to open up a little bit. Come out there and hang out with some other military people. We got all sorts of branches. The founder of it, he's an ex-Green Beret. There's several Green Berets out there.
I kept threatening to go down and check it out, but it's a long way from Hanover, man.
It is a long, but we do open houses. We try to do them quarterly, and that's a good way just to come on out. The open house isn't going to be sitting in the classroom and us giving you a spiel about what we do. We go ATV riding sometimes, or we'll have cars that will go actually on VIR and drive around and do some high-speed driving. It's not just putting around. Yeah. The guys out there, Mike, and the rest of the guys, they're extremely knowledgeable and instructive.
So folks can come out there and take a ride in a race car around the track.
It's a Crown Vic. We do.
I've been to some fast-moving Crown Vic.
Oh yeah,
they used to be the old police cars with Crown.
Yeah,
Vic.
These are all pretty much.
The Chief got the Crown Vic.
But anybody can come out. That's not specific. You bring your family out there. You can bring the kids out there for an open house. And like I said, we try to do them quarterly, and it got all jacked up with the COVID, like everything else.
Right.
But that's what it is. Just get them out there, start feeling like they can live life again around fellow military members. Like I said, we'd like to be able to help everybody all the time. That's the mentality of people that want to help, and most service members do.
Dixie, what do you think of Racing for Heroes?
Racing
for Heroes. Get out of your head, Dixie.
Well, I was reading the question up there, but I have not sadly been out there to see it though yet.
What can loved ones do to help people with substance use coming out of jail? Well, if they're veterans, they can go to Racing for Heroes, because that was the question. But you coming out of the system, you got to, go to where the love is, go to where the recovery is. The recovery centers all over the place.
Watch who you surround yourself with, man. That old, like we grew up, like you're saying, we become our parents. I know she's heard it. Choose your friends wisely. I know I heard it growing up. And who you surround yourself, you surround negativity, you're going to be negative.
Coming out of jail, you surround yourself with recovering people, you get recovering results, and we're everywhere.
So I have a little bit of experience with this. Like, I've came home from jail
a couple times,
way too many. And every time I would come home from jail, I would, well, not every time. Most of the time when I would come home from jail, I would be able to stay clean for like a little while. And then I would go back to I always had an issue getting rid of like people and places and things, mainly people. So I would get home, especially where I'm from, it's like such a small area that, and everybody's doing the same shit, man. So I would go back to hanging out with the same people, and it would take me right back to the jail almost immediately. So, and then like my son's father just came home from prison, and he didn't think that I was doing the right thing by coming into recovery or moving into a recovery house when I first got.
And that's some crazy shit, right? The man's in prison, you're in recovery. The guy in prison thinking recovery ain't the right thing.
Closed-minded.
That's insanity there, man.
I told him he was closed-minded. He told me that I was weak-minded for doing it. So, but then he came home and after about a month went back to doing the same thing, but quickly came out of it. And then a few months later went back into it for a short amount of time, and look where he's at now. He's living in here actually. So I feel like he's becoming a little bit more open-minded. So I'm just trying to I feel like surrounding yourself with people that are trying to do the same thing that you're trying to achieve, or they are trying to achieve, introduce them to people that you would want them to be around or that are doing the right thing would play a big role in it.
And that happens with a lot of people, they got that closed-minded, and our generation, with the PTSD, we would be like, nope, mental illnesses don't exist. We're not going to reach out.
You're weak, man.
You're weak. Don't do it. But now, we're so much more educated, and, people need to realize it's okay to go out and get help and talk to a counselor or do this or that. It doesn't always mean you got to get on meds, or not just being able to open up to somebody that is 100% non-judgmental and let them give you their advice and receive it. It just lifts the weight off you. I know it did me. Like I said, I blew it off for 10 years. I'm like, nah, I ain't going to no counseling.
You lucky you made it, man.
Yeah, I am, man.
A lot of guys take them pills, drink a few beers. and
Ain't
they
no
don't-
reason
they
I
don't wake
shouldn't be
up.
a number. I mean, I had that, like I did an interview for Racing for Heroes, and I'm glad we're back here. I could talk about that gun was in my hand and in my mouth many times, and there ain't no reason it shouldn't went off, except that there's a bigger purpose for me, and luckily, you know, it never happened, and everybody else can do it though. That, you know, so maybe this is it for me. You know, go out there and spread the word. There ain't nothing wrong with going out and getting some help, talking to somebody. You know, I don't give a shit. It ain't no big deal, man. If you're here tomorrow, forget about the past. You know, it will go. If you're, oh, I'm embarrassed to go get some help. But you know what? When you start feeling good about yourself, you won't be embarrassed no more. You know, you'll be like, I'm glad where I'm at now. And that's the end result.
There's a question. How does someone vet out a treatment
Yeah,
center?
you know, that's a great question, Carol. The you know, you got Google reviews, you got homepage, you do your research. A lot of times you get what you pay for. If you ain't paying for much, you won't get much. So you can call a lot of people in recovery, Carol, and a lot of folks have a lot of experience with a lot of different treatment centers and whatnot. There are a lot of great treatment centers, but it doesn't matter what treatment center you go to. Treatment is where you discover you need recovery.
Mhm.
So there really ain't no such thing as going to treatment and getting healed or getting well. Although some treatment centers do have better outcomes than others, and you know, so that's, you know, you got to do your homework. You know, I always would tell families, get educated, hang out with other families that've been down the same
That's
road
it.
you're going down.
That's it.
Go to Family Anonymous and ask those people.
Mhm.
But if you're in the Richmond area, feel free to come in here and talk to me. I'll be glad. I mean, my door is open. That's one good thing about McShin. You can walk in here and right away have a conversation and get some answers and some solutions to some questions anyway. So we're really good about that.
Is there any way we could scroll to the top and make sure we didn't miss anybody? Any
Yeah.
questions?
Todd's usually pretty good about that.
Teresa, you know, Kristen.
No.
Tiffany. Hey, Miss Tiffany, how you doing? I was glad to meet your boy. Ian, Lisa, Kim, and Justin, how y'all doing? Anna, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Sandra, you know them other people. Brett, I think we got earlier. Sandra again.
Jimmy the man. Somebody put that up there. Jimmy, I knew I call you Jimmy.
I ain't no different than
Y'all
nobody
blowing
else.
his head up.
I ain't no different than nobody else, man. Anybody can be right where I'm
Yeah.
at if they put themselves to it.
Right. So recovery month here at McShin, we do activities throughout the whole month. We got some big ones coming up. We got on the 12th, big day here, noon till 5, cookout. Miss America's gonna be here
For
Recovery
it's
Fest.
on the 12th.
It's on the 12th.
Perfect.
And Brandon Novak's coming. He's a well-known skateboarder.
Mm-hmm.
Screw up, you know, but a good dude. He's in recovery now. And Dan Snyder, the pharmacist, if you saw that series on Netflix, Dan will be here. So we'll have lots of great activities on the 12th. And during the whole month, you know, we have lots of groups and meetings here people are welcome to. We do CDC guideline procedures here. We check temperatures and make sure you wear a mask and whatnot.
You just got to do it for right now.
Yeah.
It'll be over soon. A couple months.
I didn't want to get into that,
It'll be over in a couple months. Don't worry.
But a lot of people worry. You know, and a lot of people probably shouldn't be, but we do all we can here. That's the point. We'll probably have some cookouts, you know, during the month. We do a lot of pickup cookouts. And
I know. I'm excited for those.
Light the grill up. I know of a spiritual retreat this weekend. A lot of parties, activities, recovery stuff. A lot of recovery events all month long. You know, we celebrate our recovery. You know, recovery hadn't been easy for many of us, but it's worth it. You know what I mean? It's worth it. You know, you two are both in recovery. Can you speak to it being worth it, being in recovery?
Hey, listen. When I came through these doors a little over a year and a half ago, I was like on death's doors for real. And when I first came here, I felt like I felt a little pressured to be here by my family.
What do you mean you overdosed 3 times in a week? How the hell you call that pressure, man?
I mean,
you're
they
gonna
kinda-
die, man.
they
Because we
like-
threw her in the truck and said,
Yeah.
you're getting in that damn truck and you're going there tomorrow morning.
And I tried to fight it, and I wasn't successful. So, but I also came
You
here.
are now.
Yeah. When I came here, I was like going through, I wasn't court mandated here or anything. I didn't have to be here, but I was also going to court for my second possession charge and my second violation. And I was just like, not in a good place. And when I first came here, I was like, all right, I'm only going to stay for 30 days to make my family happy. And then I'm blowing this joint. And then after like 30 days, I actually liked it.
You
Like,
started getting benefit. The
yeah.
prizes of recovery
I actually-
were being revealed.
Right. I actually liked it. And so I decided to stay, and I got a job, and then I stayed for 11 or 12 months. I stayed for a long damn time. And when I first came, like, all I'm saying is give it a shot. Like, you might not want to be here at first, but if you sit down and shut up and listen, then you'll start understanding what everybody's talking about, and it'll benefit you in the long run. I ended up staying for a long time, and like I was like, all right, 30 days, I'm out of here. All right, 3 months, I'm out of here. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not ready to go.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of McSheds. You can come here
Mhm.
and you can stay in sober living as long as you want.
Right.
It's only like $135 a week.
Yeah, y'all never
Which
kicked me out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind
I
of
think
cheap.
that is a big problem. Savannah was in and out of facilities,
Right.
and there was never anything after.
Right.
You know, and I think that broke her down so much. Even though that there was something after here,
Right.
she had been through so many of them that, all right,
But-
you're done. Boom. Back out
Savannah
in the world you
also
go.
never went to like an RCO. She always went to like a rehab, like Galax.
Intent.
Or, yeah. Like,
Inpatient.
so I feel like the differences between McShin and like Galax is like everybody here is an addict in recovery. Every person that works here. So like it's different than going to a rehab and getting advice from somebody that went to school for it that's never actually lived it. Rather than when you come here, like I feel comfortable, especially when I mean now, yes, of course. I've been coming around for so damn long. But like especially when I was new here, I felt comfortable coming to you guys, talking to y'all about whatever the hell was going on in my head at the time, because y'all have been through it and lived it, and for the most part went through almost the same things that I have, if not the same things that I have.
Yeah, obsession.
So I feel like that's beneficial.
Yeah, obsession is really what got to Savannah. She had that obsession to
Mhm.
use, and won't nobody gonna talk her out. of
Nobody,
it.
yeah.
And that obsession can last a week, a month, a year,
Mhm.
5 years. You know, it's hard to say. You know, Jimmy, you in a good recovery track right now. You're doing
Yeah.
really good. Recovery, according to Sam, so if you're doing something that's less harmful than what you did previously, you're in recovery.
Mhm.
But you take it to a new level. You're feeling good about yourself and life and what you're doing.
I was for
and-
the longest time, and I'm, obviously life threw what it threw at me a few months back, and been dealing with it, but doing the best I can with that. And like you said, I've been down that road. I know what that be's like. I don't want to go back to that.
You got
Yeah.
at least one grandson, right?
Yep, as of now.
Is that what you got as one?
Yep.
So Dixie got to get busy, huh?
No, she does not. No, she does not.
I mean, you said as of now.
yeah,
That's the green light, man.
That's in time.
So if it works out okay, it'd be good to get more grandkids.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Absolutely. In time.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard you.
When you stop asking me for money, then you're in a good enough
I
position
haven't
to
asked you
afford a
for
child.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, girls ask dad for money,
I get that,
I get a
but-
call every now and then. She's doing good today.
Oh, yeah.
So
But in time, let's give it a little while. You get your own house and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
so how's your relationship with your son progressing?
He's with me a lot more now, like every weekend, rather than I would only see him here and there. And so I'm like trying to get him Kim said, yeah, I need another great nephew or niece. I'm trying to get through having him adjust from like going from being at my mom's house to my house. Like where he's living at my mom's house, it's very country there. He ain't got no neighbors, or he can run around naked outside if he wants, where I live up here, and it's not exactly like that. So it's going to be a big culture shock for him, but I'm slow. And he's been living with my mom since he was a year old. So I'm trying to get him adjusted to like moving up here. But by the time he starts preschool next week, and then he'll start kindergarten next year. So by the time he starts kindergarten, I want to have him.
You want to have full time up
Mhm.
here. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
I see a great future with this family here.
Yeah.
We're winding down. We've been at this almost an hour now, getting close to it. Any value to add? Anything we're missing y'all want to talk about?
Don't be scared. Don't be scared to reach out. Like I said, I did it for a decade because, it's like, oh, it made us look weak. A man can handle this stuff, or some people, it doesn't have to be a man. Some women have that same mentality. I can handle this. It's what do you got to lose? If you're not happy with your life now, what do you got to lose by taking one more big chance? you know, and in their case and in mine, you know, it's life that you have.
You know,
to
you're
gain.
right about that. If you're not happy, if you ain't getting it done where you're at, you know, you got nothing to lose and only greatness to gain.
That's it.
You know, because I remember the new person in recovery at age 23. I thought, oh my God, my life's gonna suck. I can't use it. I can't
People
get
aren't
high
gonna
no
like me.
more.
They're not gonna want to hang out with me.
I didn't trust anybody that didn't use like I did, you know. But it's turned out to be the best decision I ever made.
Mm-hmm. You know? And they're the kind of people, you know, people that you meet along that way that have been through that struggle.
I still get to hang out with people with drug problems.
Yeah,
you know?
you're just helping them in a different way,
Right.
not getting high.
They're helping me. I'm helping them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Dixie, we missing anything?
I just want to say that, listen, if you feel like you're like hopeless and you'll never get better or anything like that, like I was that addict that lived out of my car for all through the winter, and I was the addict that stole from everybody in every freaking store. I was the addict that was like, I was completely hopeless and really thought there was no way out. So, and it took me some time, but like for me, like I didn't want it at first. I kind of was just like, okay, I'm gonna do it to make my family happy, like I said. But then after I gave it time, I actually wanted it. So if you feel like you don't have a chance or you feel like you're hopeless, like I said, just dude, just come.
You got nothing to lose.
It's what are you gonna hurt? You're gonna go to a meeting or whatever your pathway is. For me, it's Narcotics Anonymous and the 12 steps. But like you sit down for an hour, you hear somebody share that you're more than likely gonna relate to, and that's what kept my ass around. Like I would go to meetings, and it's so weird. Whatever meeting I would go to, whatever I was feeling that day, like if something was so screwed up and I was just in a bad mood or something was bothering me, somebody would share about it in that meeting, and I would be like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So for me,
God knew you needed it at that time.
Right.
You need to know, hey, I got to speak to this girl through somebody.
Right. So if you're looking for recovery, we're here, you know. And
well, you know, I do want to point out wherever you're at, whatever community you're at, all across America, you do have recovery resources. You have local tax-funded agencies that can guide you. You have internet. You got Google. You got multiple pathways out there. Most of them are very embracing and inviting, and they welcome new people. So if you search for it, like you would search for your drugs, you'll find it.
Right.
You know, you'll find recovery if you search for it.
You know who's going to find it on the first shot, though.
You may not. It might suck for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Don't give up. You might go through, like, I had a counselor, too. I'm like, I didn't like that one. I don't like that one. I don't want to go back, but I kept going back.
You're so right about that.
And I found a counselor that I could relate with, and it changed everything. It changed everything. So don't give up, man. If it is a dozen times, if it's 24 times, it doesn't make a difference. Keep going forward.
Some of the best banquet speakers I've ever heard, it took them 20 years and 50 rehabs and 15 jail sentences. And now they're some of the best people in the world. Well, gang, I'm so glad y'all come on today. I mean, I feel like this is a healing moment for all of us. As well as a wonderful start of Recovery Month, because we're in recovery. We do recover. We are faces and voices of recovery. We're proud of our recovery. We're not arrogant about it. We're proud of it. We are humble people. We want to make sure anybody want what we have, we want to get it for them.
Right.
So y'all have a great Recovery Month. Thanks for coming on. Todd, as usual, great job. And more will be revealed, gang.
Don't ever give up. Don't ever go. Guys, great.
Thank you very much.
Don't give up.
How do you start a recovery community organization? How do you start a recovery community center? The recovery industry, as we know it, is an emerging industry, thanks in part to organizations like McShin, but recovery people everywhere. They're getting involved, and they want to know how they can maximize the outcome of their efforts. It's not for the meek at heart or the weak of mind. You got to have some real inward strength, fortitude, courage. Because, you know, it gets to be a day and night, 7 day a week, 365 day a year industry. There's nothing simple about it. You know, how to create awesome, authentic recovery community-oriented systems of care with whatever it is you're working with. We have, I think, one of the finest authentic recovery community organizations in North America. You know, we have a 15,000 square foot recovery center, over 100 recovery beds. We're currently full-time in 3 jails. You know, we've showed other local recovery communities how to percolate, emerge, and become good, awesome organizations. So A lot to learn here. A lot of reasons to be part of this. Later. Thank you very much.